everybody. Welcome. It is Wadih Wednesday. Mira, how's it looking?
Give me a few minutes. It's just loading on my end. We are live on TikTok. In a few seconds, we will be live on Instagram.
All right. TikTok, we are in the house. Instagram and YouTube, welcome, welcome. For those that are first joining, this is Wadih Wednesday, and my name is Tiffany Twotah, and I'm a marriage and family therapist, Palestinian American, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. And I am joined by my assistant, the amazing Mira, who is here running the ship. And we come on every Wednesday, and we call it Wadih Wednesday. It's to find our clarity, to create some self-awareness. We don't pretend here at Community for International Arab that we have the answers. Not at all. It is for all of us to, as an Arab community, to just start asking questions, to create more awareness, to understand what all the things that happen to us, what meaning does it bring to our own healing? So today we are going to talk about healing within our cultural context. It is not for the weak. It is truly for the courageous. And if you're here watching this live, that's a pretty good indicator that there's a part of you that wants to create more fullness in your life. And you want to know how. You want to understand yourself a little bit more so you could take those steps for yourself. So welcome. This space is for you. With that said, this platform is not everybody's cup of tea, particularly within our Arab cultural context. We talk a lot about challenging things that have been done, things that are being done. And if you have any type of rigid mindset, you are going to have any type of divisiveness, this platform is not for you. I'm just letting you know. Stop your suffering, heal that part of you, hop off the live. This is not for you. You will suffer. And if you try to bring any of your suffering and your pain outside of a healing space, and you're just bringing your pain to create divide, hostility, any type of nasty comments, we're letting you know this is not your space. Okay. And you will be deleted and blocked. All right. So with that said, where is everyone coming in from? Let's see. Anybody how are our live streams? Looks like nobody's, is anyone even on here? Nobody wants to talk about healing on a Wadih Wednesday. I'm gonna heck bas bidi ahki lahali this whole time. You know I don't like that.
Yeah, let's give them a few minutes. They're joining.
Okay, good. We'll give people a few minutes to join. Now, if you aren't here on the live, let's perhaps ask some important reflective questions around what does healing look like for you? Greetings to the people of Palestine. I'm Ahmad from Masr. Hi, Ahmad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excuse me. All right. Healing needs you to get out of the toxic environment. What I love about what OMAC 7516 said is Min Ordon, welcome, ahlan wa sahlan, okay, is healing needs you to get out of the toxic environment. Okay. Now, within our cultural context, where we are a collective culture, this is why healing within our cultural context is so challenging, because many of us have to heal in unhealthy environments more often than not because of our collective culture. We typically do not cut off our family members. We do not leave our families. This is at the crux of the importance of your healing, to recognize your healing may be more challenging because you're trying to heal in the environment that created the pain. So your nervous system is trying to regulate itself. It's trying to unpack all the emotions in an environment that typically is not willing or open or curious to embrace that. Okay. So let's see. Hi, Ibrahim. Good to see you. Let's see. We've got a cat lover, Moroccan and Pali. I love that. Let's see. Hi, Nadine. Let's see. A cat lover. It's hard to heal without effective communication in my personal experience. Time passes and you have to let it go. Okay. I love this. You cannot row a boat with one oar. Now, what happens when you row a boat with one oar? Just keep going in circles. So many of you are trying to speak the language of love to people who only understand the language of war. You are trying to speak rationally, effective communication, active listening. You may be executing all these healthy skills to individuals who, number one, do not have the capacity to hear you. Number two, do not have the emotional language to even remotely understand what you're trying to say. Three, maybe so completely steeped in their trauma, in their pain, that not only are they not able to hear you, but they may actively try and harm you as a result of trying to bring these things up. This may be your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, a grandparent. And so what's going on? What's happening? Oh my God, already. Okay. So it's important for each and every one of you to truly understand and get that your healing is going to be more challenged as a result of that. So I'm here not to have you move away from your families. I am a firm, let's all come together, let's heal, but I am also a truth teller. And in my 20 plus years of practice working within our cultural context, there are so many of you who for years keep trying to get these people to see you and hear you and have love and community and bring together, and they're not interested at all. There's not even a remote interest in what you're trying to do. And so you keep going, exhausting yourself year after year, time after time, when they're not interested. So at what point do you stop playing the game? At what point do you start turning all that effort outward and bring it inward to say, okay, if I'm going to be in relationship with these people, what does it mean to me? And do I need to stop trying to get them to see my humanity and move more in the direction of creating communities outside of that, not cutting them off, but creating communities outside of that. So your energy is not expended in what I call the bottomless pit. Mira, how are the comments? Where are we at? What's happening?
We've been receiving some questions. I just wanted you to shout out this RVZY. They just commented telling someone that to know that no bad comments are allowed in Tiffany's comment section. I think she's an OG. She knows Khalto's Bahdila.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Habibi. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Can you read the other comments while I'm trying to get?
Sure. We have some questions. So
let's do a free for all today. Yalla, khalas, free for all.
Yeah, here you have the undivided attention of a great therapist telling you it's a free for all. We're blessed here to have you.
Some family members won't feel so blessed to have me. So, hey, be appreciated.
Oh my God. So
and I say, oh, well, thank you. I'm glad somebody loves me.
We all love you. Tell her, we all love you. Oh my God.
I appreciate you guys. That's so funny. But this is what healing looks like. This is an example that you could be completely rejected by the people close to you. And I'm not saying that's necessarily fully true in my case. However, you can be fully rejected and still be able to say, there are spaces where I can have this, right? Where I can feel that love, where I can feel that acceptance, where I can feel fully seen. And in it together, I truly believe this. We are creating community here. This is not bas haki fadi. We are creating a community so everyone where this content calls to you, so that we can support each other. We may not know each other, but we can support each other and uplift one another. That's what we're doing here. We're creating a movement of healing. It's not just social media platform. Forget social media platform. That's noise and haki fadi 99% of the time. What we're doing here is collectively, we have trauma. Collectively, we're creating healing. And we can do it. I've seen it. And so anyway, go ahead. Mira, can you read the comments while I kind of get my bearings here?
Of course, of course. Adam says, thank you for hosting this. This isn't about the other family members. Thank you. I'm obsessed as well. I'm blessed as well.
Ah, I love that.
Yeah.
So
Serene says, you.
Who?
Serene. She says, love you, Tiffany.
Back at you. Okay, good. All right. So let's kind of break this down. What I'd like all of you to think about your Arab healing. Like, what does your healing mean? What does your healing mean for you? So if you can envision yourself, what does healing look like for me? It's going to look different for everyone. Let's see. Nora Nova. Healing is being your authentic self and let it flow, be kind, be true. Okay, let's talk about that. Being your authentic self in our cultural, like, that's a buzzword. Be your authentic self. Love that. And let's manage expectations around being there are environments where it's not safe for you to be your authentic self. I know the internet is wrought with authentic self. As long as you are authentic to you, there are spaces where that mask is important. There are spaces where you're authentic. There are people that don't deserve the authentic self, your authentic self. In fact, there are spaces where you giving of that part of you, they can't receive that. Now, I talk a lot about we wear a lot of masks within our cultural context. People will get mad at me. Well, other communities do that. I don't care about other communities. I care about our community right now. Okay. I mean, I do care about other communities if any of my clients are watching. I love you too. But I want us to have a space to talk about. Sometimes that mask is for your safety, for people who are unsafe. So as long as you are true to you and you use discernment in who you want to show that to, that's okay. You don't always have to be your authentic self. Now, the issue is if you are not being true to you and allowing the people pleasing and allowing people to hurt you and harm you for the sake of el nas or for the sake of el aile, that's when it becomes problematic. So we can heal without rejecting our culture. And for that is, who are you and who do you want to become? And you want to ask yourself, what do I want to preserve from our culture? What are the beautiful things that I want to embrace? What are the strengths? Now, a lot of this community And what I'm trying to do here is bring us back to our ancestors. Bring us back to, is the right word, Mira, asalna. What is it? Is that right word?
Yes, أصلنا. أصلنا.
Okay. I want us to bring back to our ancestors who were so wise and so innovative in their thinking, so curious. And over time, because of colonialism and war and all that, we have lost ourselves. And so, and we keep talking about survival mechanism. Yes, we're in survival. And all I'm encouraging us to do is to say, can we go back? Our ancestors also had wars. Our ancestors also had all these things. And you know what got them to survive? The community and their curiosity to keep moving forward from an expanded viewpoint. Not the limited viewpoints that we see that Christian is against Muslim, Muslims are against Hadol, Hadoli, political against Hadol, and we keep doing this divide, men against women, women against men, older generation versus younger generation. What are we doing? What are we doing? How are we going to heal if we keep creating these divides? Hada straight, hada gay. Like, what are we doing here? And then we want to break generational trauma, and everyone's talking about authentic self, and everyone's talking about healing. When, how are you moving in these spaces? Are you bringing us closer together as a community? Or are your judgments and your self-righteousness bringing us away from each other? So it's important for you to ask yourself, who am I in this? So you want to ask, what do I want to preserve? What do I want to question? And you may question a lot of things, and your parents are not going to like that. You question anyway for you. Because a lot of the stuff that many of you are dealing with doesn't make sense. And I'm here to tell you, in many of your contexts, from my experience, they don't make sense. Yet you're thinking you're crazy. You're being told you're crazy when you're asking reasonable questions. And then the third question I'm going to ask you with that is, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to let go of? All right, Mira.
We have a few answers when you ask the question, what is healing to you?
Yeah, I love that. Then please.
Zain said, being at peace when with your past, loving family while accepting that they will never understand some things. Jude says, healing.
Hold on. We always go too fast.
Yeah.
I want everyone to, this is what Zaina writes. Being at peace with your past. There are some things. Now, Zaina, it's a beautiful phrase. Being at peace with, again, it's this pop psychology culture. What does that even mean? Now, I work with a lot of people who have significant trauma. Things that'll make your head spin. And it's not, does it bring them peace? Can they be at peace with such a horrible past? Or is it about creating meaning for what has happened to you? Now, in and of what you said, Habibti, it's a beautiful phrase. Yet when it's practiced in practical healing work, if I was a clinician, as a clinician, if I was to say, the goal here is for you to be at peace with your past, that can feel profoundly, how can I make peace with someone that has harmed me so significantly? So let's move away from that and say, okay, this horrific thing happened to you. How can we help you create meaning around, because it doesn't make sense what happened. It should never have happened to you, ever. There are some things in life that are so unforgivable. That's why as a clinician, if forgiveness is meaningful to the person, but I don't support, like, if you want to forgive because that's going to be good for you, great. But there are some things that are so heinous, so you don't have to forgive that person for your healing. Heck no. No way. You're going to forgive maybe in the afterlife, you can figure it out. But in this life, you don't have to forgive someone to move on. It may bring you peace not to forgive that person. So when things have happened to you, it's about saying, okay, this happened to me. How can I build upon not allowing that situation to bring me down? Because then they still win. Whoever harmed you or whatever situation harmed you. And as far as I'm concerned, it's important for each and every one of you not to allow anyone to have that kind of power over you, that you are going to minimize your own life for what somebody else has done to you. In fact, the greatest revenge is you living well. I forgot who said that. Your greatest revenge is you living well. You don't need to prove nothing to them. You don't need to just, they are in their unwellness. And so the peace that you want to bring into your life begins with you building a life to block out all that noise. And it's hard, and it's hard work. And so let's go back to Zaina's comment. Loving family while accepting that they'll never understand some things. In and of itself, Habibti, I love this. We want to love our families. There are many of you out there, you don't love your family at all. In fact, in some cases, they don't even love you. Even though with all this unconditional love we talk about within our cultural context, we are not acting in these unconditional loving ways. Because the moment you step outside of what is comfortable for them, that unconditional love now becomes conditional. So you may not love your family. You may love the idea of a family. You may not love your family. I'm here to tell you, I get it. If you don't want to love your family, or if you don't have loving feelings towards your family because of everything that the chaos that they bring into your life, that's okay. So healing within our Arab cultural context, Western therapists tell us just cut them off. I said, well, we don't do that necessarily unless it's like extreme cases. So you may have to sit in space with people you don't even particularly care for. You're like, okay, yeah, they're there. And you have to play the role, play the mask to keep, because you'd rather have some connection than no connection. You may stay in your family's life because of your nieces and your nephews or a sibling. And you may not like any of these people, but there may be one or two people that you want to still be tethered to. That's okay. So are you going to show your authentic self to these people? No, you are going to play the role, wear the mask, so that you could still have access to the people you actually care about in the family. So I also want us to manage expectations that you can accept that your family will never understand anything about you. It's okay if you don't have loving feelings towards them. This idea that you have to love people no matter what, well, what love do I have to hang on to? Okay, next question. So thank you, Zaina Habibti. Thank you for that. That was super helpful in having us engage in this dialogue of like, what do these words actually mean? Mm-hmm. Let's see, a cat lover. Did you read that one out loud, Mira?
Which one?
I'm dealing with my younger sister's rebelling, and I tried to guide them before our parents do, because they will blow up on them, but they see me as another mean figure. I understand, especially if you're the older sibling, and you want to protect your younger siblings from perhaps the unhealthy parenting, so you're trying to protect them. Now, you cannot save people from themselves. I understand what you're trying to do. Yet you can see the more you try and help them to try and protect them, now you become the problem. So if you're a healing within our cultural context, again, I call it the 3 strikes, you're out. I'll be there once, twice, third time, I'm out, I'm done. And it took me a long time to get to this place. Now I think it's 0 strikes, you're out at over 50. But when I was younger, it would be 50 strikes, 100 strikes, 1,000 strikes. And then finally, decades later, I said, 3 strikes. I'm here to support you. I'm letting you, this is my experience. I want to be there for you. And if they're not accepting, they're rejecting. Okay, one more. By the third time, you're like, okay, Allah ma'akum, God bless you. I wish you well, and focus on yourself. Now that takes a lot of practice to do that. Don't have me sit here on the other side of this screen like, oh, wow, she could do it. Her boundaries are so good. Yeah, that took like 40 years. Okay. I don't know why that was so funny to me, because it's true. It takes a long time. And everyone thinks with this meme culture and all this social media, ugh, it's just noise. It takes decades to move through. And psychological buzzwords aren't going to get you there. It's doing that deep work, the deep inner work to say, what is driving me to want to protect people that don't want my protection, that don't want me to help them? What keeps me going back? What is it within me? Okay, let's see. Where are we? Okay, let's see. Omak. At this point, it's conditional love from the first place. Here in our Arabic culture, unconditional love is so rare. Well, I love this too, because, again, asking yourself, what is unconditional love to me? What does that look like? Does that mean you love someone so much that even when they're harming you, you're like, I still love them unconditionally? Well, there is a condition of mutual respect. There's a condition of I pour into you, you pour into me. A reciprocity of that love. Unconditional love can also look like calling someone gently out to say, I see what's happening. I love you. And you're going down a really rough road. You can unconditionally love someone, but there is that, wait, let me back up. You can love them, yet the condition is, there may be this expectation you want them to move forward and to heal. But let's reflect unconditional love towards you. I typically don't look at unconditional love towards others, because that gets complicated. As you saw, I was like, is it unconditional? Can you have that unconditional love for yourself, that if you make mistakes, you can still accept and say, okay, I am who I am, and I'm going to love myself in spite of my limitations. I'm going to love myself in spite of some of the harms that I've done. I'm going to love myself enough to take accountability. I'm going to love myself enough to acknowledge the not so beautiful parts of myself, to say, even if I lean into those I call them gunky, the gunky parts that we don't want to look at, to look and say, yeah, I am capable of that. And can you still love yourself in spite of what you could be capable of? Now, we as a culture typically are in denial. I see that a lot in our culture. We deny. So you could be a kid literally looking at someone harming another person. And you as a kid may say, Mama, Baba, you're hurting this person. They will straight up look at you in your face and say, you didn't see that. That did not happen. Do you know how many stories I've heard about that? Where someone is literally looking at something with their own eyes. And the adults, not just the mama and baba, the adults in their life are telling them that didn't happen. And you wonder why you question yourself when you are watching reality and it's continually being denied. So Jay Blue Jay says, how do you build towards that kind of self-acceptance or love? By beginning to create an awareness that what you see is the reality, like you're seeing it, and to not question, to say, okay, they're engaging me in a crazy making dynamic. How do I stay grounded in that by accepting that maybe what you're seeing is true? And then you collect evidence of that. You build self-love or self-respect, forget love for a second, self-respect, by not allowing unhealthy, unwell people access to your goodness. We overcorrect on that as a culture. We give and 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 we give more to individuals that can't even, and then to individuals that will tell you, you didn't do anything for me. So you build this self-acceptance and self-respect by saying, I'm not going to give as much. Yet our cultural messaging is you must give everything of you for others, expecting nothing, because this is who we are. And I said, no, your self-acceptance begins with, maybe I don't want to do anything for anybody. Maybe I just want to live مرتاحة لحالي في الكورنر. I don't want anybody around me. Can you accept that about yourself instead of forcing yourself to continually be in environments that you don't want to even be in? So it's a slow process, Blue Jay, Blue Jay. By first recognizing what is going to bring you joy, what are the things that are going to bring you peace, what are things that are going to help you grow. Once you have that awareness and you assess your values, and they may not coincide with your family's values, you say, okay, I have that awareness. Now, what's the next step? The next step is, what does this mean to me? How do I take steps to move forward? And maybe taking a class that you wanted to do. It may be saying no to a family member, like, no, I can't make it. Maybe it's slowly retreating from certain relationships. It may be leaving that job that's been taking advantage of you for years. So we think of self-acceptance or self-love and building as these big, huge things. And all I'm encouraging you to do is it's in the small micro steps that you take daily. And it could even be a shift in your mind when you say, I used to say, and I think I still say this every once in a while, ana hamara. Hamara, is that it? Hamara, right? Hamara, yeah. How many times? Emil San, hamara. And I would say, ana hamara. What? If I make one little mistake. So in my self-acceptance, in myself, what شو يعني أنت حمارة? No. And I would slow down. I would take a deep breath and say, no, that's old. Those are lies that were put in your space when you were little. Even when they told me inti shatra, that carried a burden, because now, because I'm so smart, how can I make a mistake? Because shatrin don't make mistakes when that's not true. In fact, the shatrin make more mistakes than they learn from them. But your self-acceptance also begins with what you tell yourself. It doesn't even have to be an action. It could be a thought. It's moving away from self-love and self-acceptance, moves us away from what will people say. Some of us are so terrified to even do anything because we're so afraid of what the Nas says and the judgments and all these self-righteous people who think they have the answer for your life when they need to look at their own life. Yet we're so consumed with these, for many of you, you're watching all these limited people, unless you respect them, meaning respect how they live, respect that their values are in alignment with yours. But a lot of times we're caring about what other people think and you don't even like them. What does my Gen Z daughter say? Help me make that make sense, right? So also this idea of many of you, we learn survival. We have so much modeling of survival. And that self-love, excuse me, and we understand where that comes from. And I talk about this all the time. It's not to negate migration, war, displacement, economic insecurity, racism, colonialism, religious expectations, family reputation, and the need to stay. Like, look at all these layers in order for us to survive. I'm not negating that. All I'm encouraging each and every one of you is, why would we need to keep our pain so private, given all these things? We don't want anybody to see us sweat. Oh, our healing has to be, we're suffering in silence in spite of all these things. Okay. That's what I tell my Western colleagues. Said, you think you want us Arab therapists to stay quiet in the nonsense, especially here in the diaspora, of why we need to stay quiet of our people's pain because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Oh, I'm sorry. The genocides and the multiple wars that are happening, like, we don't need to do that anymore. We're blowing the lid off it. At least I am. I think many young therapists, I'm so proud of all the young therapists out there pushing this. Good for you. You guys inspire me every day. So that when I'm in those rooms, I'm like, are we serious? You want me to minimize my people's pain because you're uncomfortable because of your racism and your bias. We heal as a community by speaking up and not apologizing for our pain. And that includes our families. You don't need to apologize for your pain or keep it quiet because it's going to make them feel uncomfortable. Or, oh, you're bringing shame. وين الشيم عليكم? وين الشيم إلهم? For them to reflect and say, how is my behavior? Why is this child in pain? And there's no curiosity to look at how they're moving. And then if you say anything to them, they bring in the Bible, they bring in the Quran, they bring in the Torah, they bring in all these religious scripts. And then they're saying, if you speak against me, you're also speaking against God. That is your number one indicator that person is not safe. Because anyone that's going to weaponize religion to keep you in control and to manipulate you is not a well person. They are not, and I'm a woman of faith, religion. I'm not here to debate any of it, but I'm here to tell you, One sign for you to really pay attention to in your own healing, when you speak to someone in your pain and they respond back to you with lack of empathy or accountability or responsibility, that is a huge indicator for you to shore yourself up, recognize them for who they are, bless them. We're not mad. We bless. Okay, I bless you. You're unwell. And pull all your energy back to you. Okay, what do I want to do with that? Many of you are conflict avoidant. Many of us are conflict avoidant because we don't want to rock the boat. Well, within our cultural context, I say to people, well, not every conflict needs to be addressed. Because if you're trying to address a conflict, when you're trying to have a healthy, you have a conflict with someone, like you may have a point of view, they may have a point of view, and you're trying to engage and you're trying to, it begins with mutual understanding, and that requires emotional intelligence. Now, some of you avoid conflict, not because you're conflict avoidant. Some of you do that because you know the absolute sheer swirl and crazy making that you're going to engage in. But there may be conflicts that you may want to talk to your partner, people that are loving to you. People, if you love that person and they love you, avoiding conflict is going to move you away from them. I can use Ano Binti as an example. She may have, I still move very much. Sometimes I'm working on it as where I'm not as sensitive to like that Arab parent comes out where it's like, and I'm thinking, and she will say, Mama, like, what, really? Now, instead of me getting defensive, even inside, I'm like feeling that shame. Uh-oh, I did something wrong. I will take a deep breath. I will hear her. I will say, I hear you. I didn't make excuses because I know I could talk like sharp. And I said, I'm going to work on it. I am sorry that my words hurt you. And I will, and then it's backed up with change. So if I do talk, I'll immediately stop myself. Okay, Satya, honey, Habibti, Mama's not in a good space. And then we resolve the conflict because I was able to hear her without getting defensive. She was able to offer me some grace because she knows I was not raised with these skills. It's easier for her, Ashan ana alamta, these skills. So I tell her, Mama is still learning. Even after I'm a therapist, I'm still learning. And she offers me grace. I get emotional because when someone can offer you grace, and how many of you are offered grace? How many of you give grace to others when they make a mistake? Or if they say things? So conflict, when you have this with people that you care about, it's about offering one another grace that we're still learning, Mabahan. That's a healthy, beautiful relationship. That's how you heal. Okay? And so it's important in your own healing that if someone is offering you the olive branch and they're saying, hey, I messed up, and that person gives you, like there was something there to lean into, okay, there's a forgiveness, there's that word. They're asking me to forgive them or give them grace. And if there's real change, not BS hockey, I'm sorry, and then they go back and do the same thing. But when there's real change, it's incremental. I say this to marriage relationships or partnerships, we are so quick to collect resentment that we're not even looking at when the partner is offering the olive branch. It's important for your healing to look at patterns, not ignore them. To look at pattern of behavior. Are they making incremental change? Are you making incremental change? And can you come together to deepen the intimacy between one another? Or are you going to stay entrenched in your self-righteousness? Because where do we go? If we're all everyone's a narcissist, everybody is toxic, everybody is unhealthy, and it's like, let's look at ourselves. That begins with you. Shu yani, everybody is this healthy, integrated, talking about psychological buzzwords. That's it. No accountability, no responsibility. It takes two people in a dynamic. Excuse me. So I want to move to another point that I have around healing within our Arab context, is because our healing typically is in individualistic cultures, right? It's all about, what do I need? What do I need? Kulshi. Okay, what do I need? As long as my needs are met. Okay, yeah, that in and of itself is very nice. Yet within our collectivist Arab family systems, the question can be more complicated. What do I need? Beautiful question. And what will that mean for everyone else? Because in our culture, in you making choices for you, that may have implications on everybody in your family. This is why, and I'll talk to our queer community for a moment. Bless each and every one of you for what you have to go through, because this is why we don't push people to come out, even though in Western spaces, they say, like, you need to be out. And I'll say, well, what you don't understand is, if, yes, in and of itself, everyone live free, be authentic, all these, right? You want people to live and love whoever they want to love. That's what they need. That's what made. Yet, in that person making that choice, their siblings may not get into university. Their parents may lose their jobs. Families may lose opportunity and housing, and they may be other things. So I always try to inform my Western colleagues, hey, it's not just about what that person needs. In our culture, it's about what's the implication. If you get divorced, that's what you may need that. Yet, if you're divorcing someone who is, we love status, we love, right? Someone that may have some power within our communities, in you divorcing, particularly for the women, that may have implications on your family. So for you to recognize, sometimes there may be guilt associated with that, shame associated with that, obligation, loyalty, and belonging. And that's where it's deeply intertwined to say, okay, I really want this for myself. And you may have to make that decision. And that could feel like you're betraying everyone and everything you know. Choosing yourself can feel like you're being selfish. And they may tell you you're selfish. When you calling into your life what you may need, there's nothing wrong with that. For now, we come from a culture where living differently can feel like rejecting your family. For now. This is why we're having these conversations, so we're not trying to change our beautiful society. We're trying to upgrade it to today's world where people have more choices, they have more exploration, they have more curiosity. We have access to so much information, and people saying, oh, I think I want to explore that. So you want to shut down human beings' natural instinct to be curious and to explore because you're afraid. That's not a them problem, that's a you problem. Yet in our cultural context, it may disrupt an entire system. And so you've learned to function in silence. And so going back to that question where it's, how do I move towards building this life within our culture? It's carefully, slowly. Some of you, if you were like me, I bashed it like the alligator tail. I was like, boom, I'm going to break it all at once. Now, as I've aged, I recognize my poor parents. And that's why for the younger generation, please learn from my experience. Now, you may have to crocodile tail and bash everything up. That's okay. Been there. I understand. Not mad at it. But for the younger generation, to give your parents, if they're open, curious, not rigid, you may want to just give them a little bit of space and time to wrap their minds around these changes. And make room for accountability to say, okay, am I just blasting through and expecting them to just be accepting when they've had lineage and decades of conditioning? Or can I take accountability? It's not excusing any harm at all. But again, can you offer your parents some grace? Laman hinabihku something silly, or they're saying things that aren't right. A lot of times the older Arab generation, oh my God. The older generation is saying, we don't know how to talk. We don't know the haki that the younger generation wants. And so in my own experience, it's saying, Mama, this is the language. This is what I need you to say. And if the parent is open, they will say it. And that's how you build healing. That's how you build intimacy. And the parent needs to humble themselves to say, if my child needs to hear this, then I will give that to them. Even if you don't necessarily understand it, because how could you understand something that you never experienced? So the younger generation is pushing for that. Okay. All right, where are we? Oh, time went by so fast today. All right, so let's end with what does healing look like? Number one, having difficult conversations without immediately cutting each other off. And sometimes you have to kind of go back many times to repair that healing. Okay. Number two, learning that boundaries are not disrespect. So for the Arab parent out there, just because your child has boundaries does not mean they disrespect you. It means they want some space to figure things out for themselves so that they could be better for you, not rejecting you so that they could be better. So if they want to go out, have some free time, that when they come see you, they're going to be more in the fullness of who you are. But if they're out having a cup of coffee or out to dinner with, and you're calling them 60, 70 times because you're anxious, they're going to resent you. So give them space. Allowing your children to have identities separate from yours. Your children may not be like you. They may beat to their own little drum. They may not fit in our cultural rigid expectations. They may be different. And so can you embrace their identity, their difference, and say, okay, they don't fit our very narrow viewpoint of how human beings should move in the world? Can you support that child and let people know, I love my child? Yeah, oh no, they don't dress the way, they don't have their hair, whatever it is. They don't have the job. Then you let the NAS know, I support my kid no matter what. You carry that for your child. You don't put that on your child to change and let them carry that burden, as many of you are probably carrying. Making emotional expression less shameful, particularly for our Arab men. How much pushback did I get? Oh my God. You can't even talk about Arab men having any type of feelings, okay, without somebody saying, you're trying to make our men weak. The West is coming. I'm like, I don't know. Displacement war carrying that what our men are superhuman, that they can't have any kind of feelings around it. So we need to make emotional expression, particularly for our men, less shameful. We need to create room for different religious, cultural, gender, and relationship choices. That's why on this platform, we don't talk about religion or politics or any of that. We are together to embrace one another in healthy, loving ways. You can apologize without losing your dignity. Acknowledging what you've done or harming someone, you don't lose. It's not that you're weak or you're losing dignity. You're creating connection. Building communities where people can be fully themselves. Going back to the authentic, we're not at a society where you could be your authentic self. We're not there yet. And I'm going to encourage all of you in your healing journey is to please stop explaining yourself or defending your humanity. So this is what we do here at Community for International Arab. We build through our framework of trust, amana. We heal. We're not healing away from our culture. We're healing towards our culture. That's what we're doing here. By recognizing, taking everything you may have heard from this live and saying, what does this healing mean to me? In spite of all these layers you have to deal with, and how can I continue to build a life brick by brick, slowly, to create a foundation so no matter what anybody says to you, that foundation cannot be shook. All right. That's all I have for today on Wadih Wednesday. I wish you all the very best. Let us continue to heal and to recognize our light within each other and to offer one another grace as we're all trying to fumble and figure this very difficult life out. All right, it's 9 o'clock. As we say at the end of every live, nawar titnawar, that the light in me sees the light in you. And in that, we spread that light to our region. I wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful evening, day, wherever you are in the world. And know that next Wednesday, we'll be here for another topic. Take care, everybody.